Hello, welcome to OJ Studios. Please enjoy this week's chapter of The Unknown by Lacey and Olivia Julius.
The gym had been transformed into a dazzling sea of lights and decorations for the homecoming dance. Strings of fairy lights hung from the rafters, and tables adorned with red and black centerpieces lined the perimeter. The DJ booth pulsed with vibrant music that reverberated through the air, and students swirled around the dance floor, their laughter and chatter blending into a lively symphony. I stood at the edge of the gym, my hands nervously clutching the hem of my dress. It hugged my frame in a way that still felt foreign, but the swishy skirt at least allowed me to move freely. My hair was loosely curled, and light makeup accentuated features I hadn't yet fully come to terms with. The transformation was undeniable, and I couldn't shake the surreal feeling that I was playing a role in someone else's life. "Relax, Brooke," Emma whispered, appearing at my side. She looked stunning in a sleek red dress, her confidence radiating like a beacon. "You're going to have a great time." I forced a smile, my heart pounding in my chest. "Thanks, Emma. I just hope I don't trip in these heels." She laughed, squeezing my arm. "You'll be fine. Just find Bryce and let him sweep you off your feet." As if on cue, Bryce appeared at the entrance, dressed sharply in a dark suit and tie. His hair was neatly styled, and his grin lit up the room when he spotted me. For a moment, I froze, my mind racing with a mix of anxiety and curiosity. Could I pull this off? "Brooke," Bryce said warmly, closing the distance between us. "You look amazing." "Thanks," I said softly, my cheeks flushing. "You clean up pretty well yourself." He chuckled, offering his hand. "Shall we?" I hesitated for a fraction of a second before placing my hand in his. His touch was steady, grounding me as he led me to the dance floor. The lights dimmed, and a slow song began to play, the melody wrapping around us like a gentle embrace. Bryce placed his hands lightly on my waist, and I rested mine on his shoulders, maintaining a respectful distance. We swayed to the music, the world around us fading into a blur of motion and color. I could feel his eyes on me, warm and kind, and I forced myself to meet his gaze. "You're really good at this," he said, his voice low and sincere. "At dancing?" I asked, my tone teasing. "I doubt that." "No," he replied, his expression softening. "At being you. I'm glad you said yes to tonight." His words caught me off guard, and for a moment, I didn't know how to respond. Bryce didn't know who I really was, or who I used to be. To him, I was just Brooke, the cheerleader he liked. And maybe, in this moment, that was enough. "Thanks, Bryce," I said finally, offering a small smile. "I'm glad I came too." The song ended, and the DJ transitioned into an upbeat track that sent students flooding the dance floor. Bryce stepped back, his smile never wavering. "Want to grab a drink?" "Sure," I replied, grateful for the break. We made our way to the refreshment table, where Emma and Shayna were chatting animatedly. Emma gave me a knowing look, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "How's it going, lovebirds?" she asked, her tone playful. "Emma," I hissed, feeling my face heat up. Bryce laughed, unfazed. "It's going great. Brooke's a natural on the dance floor." "See?" Emma said, nudging me. "Told you this would be fun." As the night wore on, I found myself loosening up, laughing and dancing with the squad and even letting Bryce pull me into a few more songs. The initial discomfort began to fade, replaced by a surprising sense of ease. For the first time in days, I wasn't overthinking every move, every word. I was just living in the moment. I told Bryce I needed a quick break and I left to find Emma. I found Emma near the edge of the gym, sipping from a cup of punch and chatting with Shayna. Her eyes lit up when she saw me approach, and she waved me over. Shayna excused herself with a sly smile, leaving Emma and me alone in the corner. "How's it going?" Emma asked, her tone light but her eyes filled with curiosity. I took her hand and motioned her to follow me. She obeyed and I led her to a classroom that was somehow open. Of course, not teachers were following us, to them we were just two girls, what trouble could we possibly get into, right? I put my hands around her waist and looked up at her. She put her arms on my shoulder and looked down at me. "Thank you for your help this week," I whispered. Emma's expression softened, her eyes glimmering with a mix of emotions. "Of course, Brooke. Or Tyler. Whatever part of you feels most real right now." I swallowed, feeling the weight of her words. "I don't think I could have made it through this week without you," I admitted. My voice was low, trembling slightly with the enormity of what I felt. Emma's fingers brushed lightly against my shoulder, her touch grounding. "You're stronger than you think," she said gently. "But I'm glad I could be here for you. No matter what happens, I'm not going anywhere." Her words sent a wave of relief washing over me, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I allowed myself to relax. Standing there, in that quiet classroom with Emma, the noise and chaos of the dance faded into the background. It was just two people caught in a situation that defied logic but held a strange sort of clarity. "Emma," I started, my voice breaking slightly. "If I can't find a way back. If this is my life now, I don't know how to." She silenced me with a soft smile, her hands squeezing my shoulders reassuringly. "We'll figure it out, Brooke," she said firmly. "Together." Tears pricked at the corners of my eyes, but I blinked them away, nodding. Emma leaned in, resting her forehead against mine for a moment. Her presence was steady, unwavering, and in that moment, I felt something I hadn't felt in days: hope. She leaned down to me, and we kissed in the classroom. The kiss was tender, a collision of confusion and comfort, two worlds briefly aligning in that quiet, stolen moment. Emma's lips were soft, carrying warmth and understanding, a stark contrast to the whirlwind of uncertainty that had been my existence for the past week. In that fleeting instant, it felt as though all the noise and chaos of the world had been muted, leaving only the gentle hum of our shared breath and the electric tension hanging in the air. Time seemed to stretch, each second an eternity as we stood there, wrapped in the kind of intimacy that words could never fully capture. The fluorescent light above cast a muted glow, highlighting the quiet vulnerability etched across her face and mirroring the emotions churning within me. Her arms tightened around my shoulders, pulling me closer, as if trying to anchor me in this moment, to remind me that amidst all the chaos, there was still something solid, someone who cared enough to hold on. The gesture wasn't just an embrace, it was a lifeline, a silent promise that even when the world felt like it was spinning out of control, this connection, however fragile, could still hold firm. I felt my own hands tighten around her waist, the act feeling foreign and familiar all at once, like finding shelter in a place I'd never been but somehow always known. My heart raced, a mix of fear and longing coursing through me, as if part of me was afraid to let go, knowing that reality would inevitably creep back in to reclaim its hold. But for now, in this small, stolen moment, none of that mattered. She looked down at me and smiled and then froze. I looked at her wondering what was going on. I looked out the window of the classroom door and said that people in the hallway were also frozen in place. "What the?" I muttered, the unease settling heavily in my chest like a cold stone. Then, behind me, a voice pierced through the unnerving silence, one that sent an involuntary shiver racing up my spine. "Hello, Tyler," the voice drawled, slow and deliberate. It was the voice of an old woman, raspy but oddly familiar, laced with something that felt like both a threat and a promise. I turned around slowly, my heart thudding loudly in my chest. "Long time no see," the voice continued, and now I could see her. She was as I feared, Mrs. Whitaker.